Hello there, and welcome to our program Going Beyond. This is a show on which we always feature interesting and fascinating people who have achieved great success in their chosen fields. And my guest today is absolutely no exception to that. Let me introduce you to C. Bernard. Now, Bernard is the MD of MR Technologies. He's right here with me to tell me what makes him tick. Thank you so much for being with me. Have you been in the tech industry for a long time?
Well, now close to over 20 years.
20 years,
Yeah.
as long as that.
Yeah.
So then the next real question is about MR Technologies. What is it all about?
MR Technologies overall, we've been focused on using technology to empower people. So when I looked at the business, even when we started, I realized technology can be used to do many things. But what if it really empowers people to perform better?
Okay, but your particular area of expertise is in the healthcare industry.
Yes.
So why did you choose healthcare industry?
Well, healthcare, I'm sure all of us understand healthcare is a fairly important area.
Absolutely, it affects my life.
Yeah, and healthcare, I believe, in our country is emerging as a business and as an industry where, for example, we have the ratios, patients to hospitals or doctors to patients. We've got a long way to go, and we realize healthcare is an emerging industry, and there's a huge opportunity, for us to help that industry grow.
Indeed, it's a very profitable industry. Am I right when I say that?
I guess in the longer run, it would be. But we had not set our eyes on profitability at this point in time. We had looked at more on the impact aspect of what we can do.
Is the industry itself, Bernard, healthy? I don't mean literally, but is it healthy as a business?
Well, I'm told if you look at the hospitals, they are not really making too much money. And
it's hard to believe that.
No, that's true, because if you would ask a doctor who runs a hospital, he'll tell you, he struggles with making money. Well, I think there's this public impression that hospitals are making a lot of money,
Yes.
But in reality, we've now worked with quite a few hospitals, and we recognize it's a difficult thing. People are not really making that kind of money.
Right. Now, you chose to be in this industry for a very obvious, specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
I need to draw you out here and ask you, tell me exactly what it is that you're doing.
Okay, so if you look at the industry, it's a fairly complex industry. Now, I'm sure all of us have been to a hospital at some point of time or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, even if not as patients, right?
With a patient at least, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
sure. In the healthcare industry, every patient basically experiences all kinds of people. Yeah, so you meet people at the reception. You meet the nursing. Well, God forbid one gets admitted, but let's say if you get admitted, you're meeting the nursing staff, the lab people, and the housekeeping people, to all kinds of people, right? And it becomes extremely complex, right? And so when you have to talk about, let's say, delivering a certain kind of service, it's these complex kind of people with different backgrounds. They have to deliver the same quality of service for you to have a great experience, right? And now, and that's difficult. How do you actually look at, unlike in any other business, you're possibly just meeting, let's say if you look at the retail industry, the only experience that you have with people is the people who are in the shop outlet. You don't meet the supply chain people, you do not meet anybody else. But the healthcare industry, you actually experience most people while you're going through this, this process of getting the right kind of care. So it is extremely complex, right? And our view was, in that complex environment, technology and things around technology can help bring about some orderliness, some monitoring, right? And so that's why we looked at healthcare and technology.
Right. Let me ask you, how many hospitals would you reckon there are in India? Whether it's, is there a total figure that we can look at? Hospitals, maybe clinics, and how does it work?
Okay, now that's a difficult question, because hospitals in India do not get registered with a body. Now there's this Clinical Establishments Act. So hospitals would have to get registered now. But we are told there are around about 80 to 90,000 hospitals in the country, right? And those numbers vary, but different bodies in the country talk about 80 to 90,000 hospitals in this country. So that's the size as we speak now.
Right. So are you saying that until now, any little hospital could mushroom anywhere in India and it was fine?
As we speak now, yes, because, let's say, for example, Tamil Nadu, right? The only registration you require is you need to be registered with possibly the Nursing Home Board as part of the Indian Medical Association.
Nursing Home Board?
Yeah, so Indian Medical Association, which is the principal body where all doctors get registered, has in the country this thing called as the Hospital Board of India, right? But in Tamil Nadu, which is the oldest body, they have the Nursing Home Board. So all hospitals, get registered as members with the Nursing Home Board. So in Tamil Nadu, I think you're good enough if you actually have a registration with the Nursing Home Board. But that's changing.
Right.
That's changing.
Right. But I wanted to know, how are hospitals monitored? What's the sort of process by which, they are actually monitored? Doesn't a hospital have to have the X number of beds or this kind of equipment or this many nurses or this facility? Tell me about that. Explain that to me, please.
Okay, so the Clinical Establishments Act, right, which some states have started implementing, that defines what should be the size of the hospital. And if you say you're a 100-bedded hospital, it also defines space that you need to have, space that you need to provide for, things that you need to have, and so on and so forth, and also resources that you need to have. Now, but there's this other thing called as the Accreditation Board, and so there's this thing called as the National Accreditation Board for Healthcare in our country, which certifies and accredits hospitals, right, in terms of delivering a certain kind of quality. So these are quality initiatives. I think the NABH standards specify. What do you mean by NABH? That's the National Accreditation Board for Healthcare.
Okay.
And the NABH is an accreditation program. So which means they have defined a set of standards, which indicates what should you be doing to achieve accreditation, right? But this accreditation is based on delivering quality. Right. Primary. Okay. So let me share with you another key piece of information.
Yes, please.
Now, if you look at healthcare, patient safety is a big concern.
Yes.
And well, I'm going to kind of reel out some numbers, right, which may not be necessarily relevant to India, but it gives you an indication, right? So, and anybody can Google this out. In the US, and I'm talking about the US because at least these numbers are available, right? They say that over 1.7 million people every year acquire infection they never had before, right? So
after going into a hospital?
After going into a hospital, yeah. So that sounds alarming, isn't it?
Indeed.
Of which close to 100,000 people die. Yeah. So
I'm holding my breath, really. Yes.
So, and the reason I brought up this statistics is because one would assume, I think we can safely assume that we actually have the US. There's a much better quality of service that they provide. Well, so I would assume, right? So, but that indicates the issues with reference to patient safety.
Right. Bernard, I'm going to stop you here a moment, and when I'm going to take a very short break.
Okay.
But when I come back, I'm going to ask you to now bring me down to the Indian situation and where we are at specifically with healthcare. Okay.
Sure.
Well, it's time for us to take a very short break, and we're going to be right back with you. Please don't go anywhere.